Hello, Shabbat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Lynn Liberman, and this is Cantor Deb Winston. We're from Jewish Community Chaplaincy, Jewish Family Service of St. Paul. We're just delighted to be together and to be with you to celebrate and to welcome Shabbat. Over the next short while, please feel free to join in and become part of our small community in preparation for and celebration of Shabbat together.
Please join me if you know it, or just listen to this very old melody of welcoming the Sabbath Queen. Achama merosh ha'ilanot nistalka, Bo'u v'neitzeh likrat Shabbat hamalka. Hine hi yoredet hakdosha habrucha, ve'im malachim tzva shalom umnucha. Boi boi hamalka, boi boi hakala. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShalom. The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace.
Beautiful welcome. Also, to begin Shabbat is we usher in the Shabbat with light, with the Shabbat candles. So we will light those.
Please join me again. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, b'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
To begin thinking about the meaning of this day and asking a question. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this day, Shabbat, abide.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaShalom. shalom malachi elyon mimelech malachi hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu.
So we move to a central prayer in our Jewish tradition, the singing and saying of the Shema. We traditionally cover our eyes to help us kind of leave out all that's distracting around us and devote our hearts and our mind with deep intention to this declaration of the oneness of God. Please join us if you are able.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Abed. And then we move on to the second and next piece of the Shema, the Ve'ahavta, which outlines all of the things that we do to demonstrate physically our belief in that one God. If you know it, please join me, and if not, just listen. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha vehayu hadvarim haele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha b'derech uveshochbecha uvekumecha ukeshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beineinecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים Ani Adonai Elohechem emet.
As we now turn for a moment to think about this week's Torah reading, we are at Parshat Chukat. And in this Parsha, we really have the beginning in very many ways of the Israelites into that journey into the desert. They really haven't gone very far yet, but now in earnest, this journey is moving ahead. And it's not an easy one. It's a direction that they don't know where to go. They are being led by Moses, but they haven't a map. They don't really know quite the destination that they're headed toward, although they do know the ancient promise to the Holy Land. But it's hard to walk. They're walking, they're carrying everything with them, and it's a journey with no end as far as they know. And so they begin to kvetch a little bit. They become unhappy. It's not easy to keep going. And along the way, in the book of Numbers, in this Parsha, chapter 21, verse 9, we see a very interesting moment that happens with Moses, who seeks out advice. You know, there's just so much kvetching a person can take. And so, of course, Moses turns to God to say, what do I do? How do I respond to what's going on? And God suggests to Moses to create a statue in front of them out of the figure of a seraph. Now this is a figure that really looks like a snake, and says to Moses, put it up high so that they have to look up to see this image, to be able to gaze upon it, and adds that if there's anything from which they are burdened, that healing is needed, that once they look upon this image, they will thus be healed. Some of you may know that in the medical world, this is actually the origin of the image that is often used as the medical symbol, the snake around a staff, such as what Moses perhaps constructed out there in the wilderness. But there's another insight I wanted to share. In thinking about this Torah portion, I looked up a famous commentator, Nachmanides, from about the middle 1200s, and he said the following interesting thought. There appears to be a theological aspect involved in this matter. It is the Torah's way that every event in it is a miracle within a miracle. Thus, this image removes the damage by means of the damager and cures the illness by means of its cause. One could say, for example, an insight here is, if you know a little bit about medicine, that sometimes the very thing that causes illness is also the source of healing. Scientists have been able to extract from certain diseases an element that they can then adjust, and it becomes the cure to take away the illness. It's pretty extraordinary. But I would say there's another message that's being illuminated by Nachmanides that speaks perhaps most to this day and this time in which we are living. As we continue to work our way out of the pandemic of COVID, we're not quite done yet, but we are getting ever so close. We know that in the beginning of this, we were told to become isolated, away from others, to become, to seek out shelter, if you will, in our apartments and where we live, because the spread of the disease is something that went easily from person to person. So in order to be healthy and have good well-being on our behalves, we needed to draw away from others. Of course, along the way, many of us experience deep isolation and loneliness and challenges that come when we don't get to mix with other people. But now that we are beginning to come through this period, this challenging time of this pandemic, with good science and with taking still precautions and being thoughtful about what we're doing, we are re-entering into the world and, in fact, are being encouraged to once again be with others, to have meals with others, to play cards with others, to simply talk and chat and be in community with others. Perhaps as some of you are sitting with another as you're watching Cantor Deb and I today. And the idea that we know is that the thing that would have brought us perhaps challenge and worry, a shared disease, is actually now the thing that's going to heal us, which is companionship, being around other people, feeling their presence, receiving good and kind words from each other, and just sharing our thoughts and what's going on in our lives today. It is such a blessing that so many of us have been able to come through this challenging year. And as Nachmanides points out from the Torah portion, that we have so many good things for which we can look forward to in this time where we're going to seek healing and well-being. And on this Shabbat, ever more so, that everybody should have a sense of peace and well-being and to really feel the joy that Shabbat brings to each of us. Shabbat Shalom.
We take a few moments of silent reflection and listen to the words in our hearts and just be alone with our deepest self for a moment. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, chitty bitty bitty bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Shabbat 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 shalom. Shabbat 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 shalom, Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, chitty bitty bitty bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam.
We're getting close to the end of our service. We're going to first do the Kiddush to sanctify this Shabbat day.
Please join with me in blessing the fruit of the vine. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Chaim.
And of course, it wouldn't be Shabbat without a challah, which has been hiding away under our beautiful challah cover.
Oh, beautiful.
Take that off and show you this beautiful large loaf.
Ready? Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Love it.
Yum. Well, thank you for joining us for Shabbat. We wish you a really, truly beautiful Shabbat this weekend and many, many more days of peace and well-being for you in the weeks ahead.
I hope you're saying along. Have a healthy and wonderful week.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.